Today, we're exploring the top 3 most valuable Jefferson nickels, breaking down their history, key features, and of course, their current market value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, these nickels are worth keeping an eye out for. 1942 Jefferson nickel. The 1942 Jefferson nickel was minted during a pivotal time in American history. World War II was in full swing, and the U.S. government needed to conserve essential materials for the war effort. This led to a significant change in the composition of the nickel. Before 1942, nickels were composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. But starting in late 1942, the U.S. Mint began producing what we now call war nickels, which were made of 56% copper, 35% silver, and 9% manganese. This change was necessary to conserve nickel, a critical material for military production. The 1942 Jefferson nickel was designed by Felix Schlag, whose depiction of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse has become iconic. On the reverse, we see Jefferson's home, Monticello, an image that has remained largely unchanged through the years. One key detail to look for on the 1942 nickel is the mint mark. If your coin has a PD or S above Monticello, you're looking at a war nickel. This was the first time the Philadelphia Mint used a mint mark on U.S. coinage. There are a few important varieties to keep an eye out for when it comes to the 1942 Jefferson nickel. First, there are 2 main types, the regular copper nickel version and the silver war nickel version. The war nickels are usually more sought after by collectors due to their silver content. Another interesting aspect of 1942 nickels is the potential for error coins. Look out for double die averses or repunched mint marks. These can significantly increase the value of your coin. So how much is a 1942 Jefferson nickel worth today? The value of these coins can vary widely based on their condition, mint mark, and whether they are a regular or war nickel. In circulated condition, a 1942 regular nickel might be worth around 50 cents to $1, while a war nickel could range from $1 to $3. However, uncirculated examples or coins with rare errors can fetch much higher prices, sometimes reaching $50 or more, especially for those graded by a professional service. The 1942 Jefferson nickel is more than just pocket change. It's a piece of history, a testament to a nation at war, and a fascinating addition to any collection. Whether you're interested in its historical background, its unique design, or its potential value, this coin has you. This coin has something for everyone. 1988 Jefferson nickel. The Jefferson nickel has been in circulation since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. It was designed by Felix Schlag, and the coin features a profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse. That's the front of the coin, in Monticello, Jefferson's famous Virginia home, on the reverse. By 1988, the Jefferson nickel had been in production for 50 years, and not much had changed in its design. However, these coins are still important to collectors, especially when it comes to condition, mint marks, and any potential errors. The 1988 Jefferson nickel was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia mint nickels have no mint mark, the Denver mint nickels have a D mint mark, and the San Francisco mint produced proof coins with an S mint mark. Here's a quick breakdown of the mintage numbers. Philadelphia minted over 771 million nickels. Denver produced around 546 million. San Francisco, being the proof coin, minted just under 3.3 million. So as you can see, the Philadelphia and Denver coins are much more common, while the San Francisco proofs are far less common and often more valuable. Now, let's talk about value. The value of a 1988 Jefferson nickel depends largely on its condition, mint mark, and whether it has any errors. Here's what you should know. Circulated coins, most 1988 nickels you come across will be circulated and are worth face value, which is 5 cents. However, if you find one in uncirculated or mint state MS condition, its value can increase to around 25 cents to a few dollars, depending on the grade. Proof coins, the 1988 S proof nickels can range from $1 to $5 or more, depending on their condition and whether they're still in the original packaging. Key factors: look for full steps on the reverse side. Full steps refer to the detail on Monticello's steps. If all steps are clearly visible, the coin is considered more valuable. Coins with this feature can fetch a premium. Errors: keep an eye out for any errors like off-center strikes, double dies, or any other anomalies. Error coins can be quite valuable, sometimes reaching hundreds of dollars, depending on the rarity and type of error. To sum it up, the 1988 Jefferson nickel might not be the rarest or most valuable coin out there, but it's definitely one to look out for, especially in high grades or with interesting errors. Whether you're checking your pocket change or searching through rolls, you never know when you might find a hidden gem. 1982 Jefferson nickel. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple in U.S. coinage since it first rolled off the presses in 1938. Designed by Felix Schlag, this coin features Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello, Jefferson's iconic home, on the reverse. By 1982, the design had been in circulation for over 4 decades, but that year brought some subtle changes and challenges. So what makes the 1982 Jefferson nickel unique? First off, 1982 was a turbulent year for U.S. mint production. Due to economic pressures, the U.S. Mint was trying to cut costs. This meant some interesting variations in the production process, especially in the quality and consistency of the coins minted. Let's break down the specifics. The 1982 Jefferson nickel was struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Philadelphia Mint coins are distinguished by the absence of a mint mark, while the Denver Mint coins carry a small d mint mark to the right of Monticello on the reverse. In terms of composition, the 1982 Jefferson nickel is made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a standard composition that's been used for decades. It has a diameter of 21.2 m and a weight of 5 grams. But here's where things get interesting. During the 1982 production year, the mint focused heavily on striking pennies and quarters, leaving the quality control of nickels a bit inconsistent. As a result, you might find 1982 nickels with weak strikes or poor details, especially around the Monticello dome and Jefferson's hair. Now let's talk value, which is what most of you are probably here for. Generally speaking, the 1982 Jefferson nickel isn't considered rare, and most circulated examples are worth just face value minus 5 cents. However, there are exceptions. If you happen to find a 1982 Jefferson nickel in uncirculated condition, or better yet, a high-grade example with a full steps designation where the steps on Monticello are fully visible and uninterrupted, you're looking at a significantly higher value. Coins in mint state MS condition can fetch anywhere from $1 to $10, depending on their grade, while full steps nickels can go for $20 or more, especially in higher grades. Another thing to keep an eye out for are error coins. Off-center strikes, double strikes, or other minting errors can add a premium to the value. Some 1982 nickels with errors have sold for over $100, making them a hot commodity for error coin collectors. So while the 1982 Jefferson nickel may not seem like a big deal at first glance, there are definitely some gems to be found, whether it's an error coin or a high-grade full steps example. As always, the key is to carefully check your coins for these details. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Let me know in the comments if you've come across any interesting 1982 nickels in your collection. And as always, keep collecting and keep learning. See you in the next video. 1982 Washington Quarter. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1982 Washington Quarter. This coin may seem like just another piece of change, but it has an intriguing history and can be worth more than its face value to the right collector. Let's explore its background, the key details, and what makes this quarter unique. The Washington Quarter was first introduced in 1932, celebrating the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, this coin features Washington's profile on the obverse and an eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse. The 1982 quarter, however, is particularly interesting due to a few key factors that we'll uncover. In 1982, the U.S. Mint faced a unique challenge due to budget constraints. They decided not to produce proof sets or uncirculated mint sets for that year. As a result, finding high-quality 1982 quarters in circulation is rare, making them particularly valuable to collectors. Now let's talk specifics. The 1982 Washington Quarter was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia no mint mark, Denver D mint mark, and San Francisco S mint mark, though the San Francisco Mint only produced proof coins in earlier years, not in 1982. What makes the 1982 quarter stand out is that it's made from a copper nickel clad with no silver content, unlike quarters produced prior to 1965, which contained 90% silver. This composition -91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel was typical for quarters post-1965. However, what makes the 1982 quarter interesting is the difficulty in finding high-grade examples. The lack of collector sets that year meant most quarters were heavily circulated, leading to fewer surviving in pristine condition. When it comes to value, condition is everything. For circulated 1982 quarters, the value is typically just their face value of 25 cents. However, in uncirculated condition, the value can jump significantly. For example, an uncirculated 1982p or 1982d quarter in mint state MS65 condition can be worth between $10 and $20. In MS67 condition, prices can reach up to $1,000 or more due to their rarity. So what should you look for when searching for a valuable 1982 quarter? Pay close attention to the detailed sharpness in the lettering, minimal wear on Washington's hair, and strong luster. Quarters with full details on the eagle's wings and chest are particularly desirable. As you can see, the difference between a well-circulated and a high-grade quarter is significant. A sharp strike and minimal wear can dramatically increase a coin's value. Now let's talk about market value. As of insert current date, a 1982 quarter in average circulated condition is still worth its face value. However, in higher grades, the value can increase substantially. For instance, MS65 examples can range from $10 to $20, while MS67 examples can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. 1974 Washington Quarter. The 1974 Washington Quarter is part of this long-standing tradition, but what makes this coin particularly interesting? Let's dig a little deeper into its history and production details. In 1974, Washington quarters were minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint produced quarters with distinct characteristics. The Philadelphia Mint didn't use a mint mark, while Denver used a D and San Francisco used an S. However, it's important to note that the quarters from San Francisco in 1974 were only produced as proof coins, meaning they were not intended for circulation, but rather for collectors. Proof coins from San Francisco have a mirror-like finish and are struck multiple times to ensure sharp details. They're usually found in special sets. Before 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver, but due to rising silver prices, the composition was changed to a copper nickel clad, which is what you'll find in the 1974 quarter. This means that the 1974 Washington quarter is made of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. It weighs about 5.67 grams and has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. In general, a circulated 1974 quarter is worth its face value just 25 cents. However, if you have an uncirculated or proof coin, the value can increase. An uncirculated coin with no signs of wear might be worth around $1 to $3 depending on the market. Proof coins, especially in their original packaging, can be valued at around $5 to $10 or more. Factors like condition, luster, and any errors or variations can greatly impact the value. For instance, coins with mint errors like doubled die obverses can be quite valuable to collectors. Speaking of errors, while the 1974 quarter isn't famous for any widespread errors, it's always worth checking your coin for anything unusual. Look for things like doubling on the lettering or Washington's profile, off-center strikes, or any other oddities. So while the 1974 Washington quarter is generally just worth its face value, there are exceptions, especially if you have an uncirculated proof or error coin. Always keep an eye out for these special traits. 1967 Washington quarter. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932, commemorating the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design, created by sculptor John Flanagan, has become a staple of U.S. currency. However, the 1967 Washington quarter holds a unique place in this series. 1967 was a year of significant change for U.S. coins. The Coinage Act of 1965 had recently eliminated silver from quarters, dimes, and half dollars, marking the beginning of the clad era of U.S. coinage. By 1967, the U.S. Mint was still adjusting to this transition, producing quarters with a copper-nickel composition rather than the 90% silver content used before 1965. The 1967 Washington quarter was produced in large quantities to meet the growing demand for coins in circulation. Over 1.5 billion of these quarters were minted across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. Interestingly, none of these coins carry a mint mark. This was due to the mint's efforts to discourage coin collecting during a time when coin shortages were a concern. The design features a right-facing bust of George Washington on the obverse with the inscriptions "Liberty in God We Trust" and the year 1967 on the reverse. We see the iconic eagle clutching a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath, a design that remained consistent throughout the quarter's history until the state quarters were introduced in 1999. Now let's talk about what you're really here for: the value of the 1967 Washington quarter. Because so many were minted and they were not made of silver, most 1967 quarters found in circulation are only worth their face value of 25 cents. However, uncirculated coins, particularly those in higher grades, can be worth significantly more to collectors. For instance, a 1967 Washington quarter in MS65 condition, which is considered gem uncirculated, can fetch anywhere between $20 to $50 depending on the market. If you're lucky enough to find one in an even higher grade, such as MS67 or MS68, you could be looking at a value upwards of $100 or more. These values are largely driven by the coin's condition, eye appeal, and rarity in such high grades. But wait, there's more. There are also some varieties and errors that can increase the value of a 1967 quarter. One such example is the doubled die obverse, where the lettering or design elements are doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. These error coins are rare and highly sought after by collectors, sometimes commanding prices of several $100s. So how can you identify if your 1967 Washington quarter is worth more than face value? First, check the overall condition of the coin. Look for any signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration. The fewer imperfections, the higher the grade. Next, inspect the coin or magnification for any doubling on the obverse. Doubling might appear on the letter's date or Washington's profile. Finally, if you think you have an uncirculated or error coin, consider getting it graded by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. Grading can significantly impact the value, especially for high-grade or error coins. That wraps up our deep dive into the 1967 Washington quarter. While most of these coins are worth just their face value, certain factors like condition, grading, and rare errors can make some of them quite valuable. Next time you come across one of these quarters, take a closer look. You might just have a hidden treasure in your pocket. I am Poor Man. Please help me if you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with fellow coin collectors, and subscribe to our channel for more numismatic content. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching and happy collecting.